Hey guys, welcome back. Noella here. First, a little commotion for the dress. The last time I wore this dress was in 2019. I swear. Like, intermittent fasting works. I'm so pleased. And I zipped myself. Like, I didn't need anybody to zip myself. So if you're trying to lose weight, start intermittent fasting and eating lots of low carb and walking. Anyways, as you can tell by the title, today's chit chat is a bit interesting. Oh my god. I'm trying a new way of wearing wig I saw on TikTok, but clearly I'm feeling I don't care at this point. Well, today's topic is leveling up guide for women in diaspora. It's really African women because that's what I can relate to. But if you're just any woman who moved from your home to like another city, no, not city, it's really country, then perhaps you can take one or two from this vlog. But really, I most relate to the African girl. I am not recording this, I'm not making this vlog as like somebody who has gotten where she wants to go. Rather, it's somebody who is like obsessed with the process, and I want to share some tips that I've learned along the way. First of all, I have been a student of Anna Byeee. She has the School of Affluence. Talks a lot about becoming high value woman. Talks a lot about improving our lives, transforming our lives, doing the work. So if you do not know of her, please go check out her channel. I think mostly because she speaks about the European setting, being that she's Swedish, whatnot. And she has honestly helped me a lot in this journey, from moving abroad to finding my way and things like that. Anyways, number one, the first thing you need to understand is that when you move to a new country, you are going to start at the bottom. Especially if you move on your own, not if you are moving like maybe you're married or something like this. But if you're moving on your own, especially like most of us, we move for school, you're going to start at the bottom, in the sense that you don't know anything, so your experiences are going to be for the first few years, depends, maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4, some people is months, but the overall principle is like you are going to start at the bottom. Even the jobs you have access to are not going to be really like amazing jobs that maybe like you dreamed about, you know. People start as cleaners, people start working in restaurants, kitchen. I started doing like nanny job. I never thought I would do a nanny, being that I had even owned a business in Nairobi. But being that you're starting, like it's like you're starting your whole life, you will have to redo this process again. And I want to encourage you that this is part of the process. Grind, stay in there, and take advantage of some of the opportunities that these jobs might give you. For one, if you have not watched my video on student jobs, I think I'm gonna link it. My boss, like the father of the kids that I was taking care of, he was like, he wants me to work in the company that he was working, and he even referred me, even if I did not get that job. But being diligent with what you have is going to lift you, and you might get a lot of opportunity from that. Okay, so don't get stuck in your first job, please. Do not get stuck here. In like abroad, people change jobs so quickly. I'm not saying it's easy, but don't get stuck in one job for too long, especially as you're starting. Maybe later, once you get into something, into a career. Okay. About experiences, of course, if you are starting at a low job, there is no way you're going to be able to go to like really nice places. And if you're even paying for your school fees, it's going to be very difficult to balance your finances. Like, how do I socialize? You will not be able to like go to real places, buy nice clothes, such things, because you have limited finances. Just understand this is a temporary thing, and it will pass. It's part of the process. Trust it. trust it, because all this resilience and sacrifices that you are making while at that stage is going to really help you as you move forward. Number two, and the most important thing, is the flexibility and adaptability. I want you to come here with to be very open-minded, like as you're moving wherever you're going. Be very, very open-minded about where you're going. Don't come so much with close-mindedness of like, oh, this is how things do at home, this is how I am used to, because you will struggle. You are in a new environment, you are in a new society, you're surrounded with new people who have their own way of doing things. You have to be very, very adaptable to your present society. If you come with like with the you know how things go at home, how you know how we run, how stuff happens, you will suffer a lot. I always say this: people who are, you know, like back home partying, like Nairobi for example, there is a place, I think it's only Monday that people sleep, but from Tuesday there are specific places like for entertainment that people go, so you can literally party from Tuesday to Tuesday, if that makes sense. Monday only is that most places are closed, but from Tuesday places are open. So people come like to the abroad thinking, oh, you know, it's going to be happening, we'll be partying, we're gonna have a good time. Nope, I'm sorry, that does not happen. Europeans, in my observation, actually, they are not people who club a lot. They are people who want to do sports. People have hobbies. Partying is not really such a culture. It's only a culture for like college people, like university people. After university, people don't want to. Guys are heavy on their motorbikes. They want to go and do some funny things in the forest, like, you know, people don't have time to be at the club. And I think for me, that has been refreshing. For the girls who do not want to lose weight in Europe are suffering. They will just come say, oh, you know, like I'm eat back home in Nigeria, wherever, in Kenya, and you come here and you're like, oh, I'm thick, I have a fat ass. Nobody cares. To them, you're fat. I'm sorry. This is not to like body shame anybody, but we have to speak the truth. And they are having really bad experiences because they have refused to reinvent themselves, to go to the gym. And they say, oh, men are shitty. Men, it's like, men really don't want women who are fat. Because to them, you're fat. Like, yeah. So when you see me like hustling to lose weight, is because I have seen, because there is only one aesthetic in Europe, and that's being skinny. Don't shoot the messenger. Let the one who has ears listen. The thing we do, stay in our own groups. Like Kenyans want to hang out with Kenyans, Ghanaians want to be with Ghanaians, Nigerians want to be Nigerians, Indians want to be Indians. You will lose on a lot of really amazing opportunities if you just think this way. Because think of it this way: you have come from your country to here, they have come, you think the same, so you've created like this bubble, which is honestly not realistic. I would suggest, it's difficult to make friendships with the Europeans or just local people because they have already established their connections. Rather, why don't you think about making friends with other foreigners? Like for me as a Kenyan, I look for an Indian, I look for a German. Foreigners who are here who also need friends. I think that works amazing. And how do you meet these people? By being in social events. People are running. There's people who are going to the gym. There are people who like to cook with each other. Such things. Pick a hobby and meet people there. I always say clubs are not a place to meet people for meaningful connections. It's very, very rare. It's very hard. They will always just, let's go drink, and then tomorrow morning we're not talking to each other until it's Friday. Let's go drink. And it's like, is that the quality of life that you want for yourself long term? I don't think so. So you have to choose wisely. Other aspect that you have to consider as you're moving abroad is that is very, very important for your level up, is to observe. This might go hand in hand adaptability, because for you to be adaptable, you have to observe. Let me just put it that way. Like, you have to see, how is this society run? How do people communicate to each other? How do people socialize? What do people do in their free time, you know? Such things. I have been like a victim, can I say a victim of this? Because initially the Lithuanians say a lot of maybes, And I was wondering why, because even if a guy is asking you out, he will say, oh, maybe you want to go out, and I'm like, maybe. For me, it came out as like you're very uncertain, so I would say, oh, no, because if it's a maybe, then no, because I'm used to men saying, let me take you out to dinner, let's do this, I want to see you. But here somebody saying maybe, you're like, okay, so it means you're not sure. When you're sure, let me know. Yeah. But I asked one guy, why do you people say maybe a lot? And he didn't even know. He said, really? Then he was like, oh, maybe it's because like it's a direct translation from a word they say in Lithuanian is galbūt. It can be, so you say it can be, it could be, maybe, perhaps. So they don't have, I don't know which was this in English, like would, could, should. They don't have this in Lithuanian. All of this is encompassed in maybe. So it's not really like the guy is not feeling you, or even the girl, like if you are making plans like, oh, let's hang out, they'll be like, oh, maybe. Or they will ask you, maybe you want to go out for a walk. That is to say, that to them is like saying, would you like to go for a walk? So it's not very assertive, I know, but you just have this, the things that these are the nuances that you get to learn once you observe how society runs. So if somebody asks you maybe, just imagine in your head they're saying, would you like? Yeah, because that has saved me a lot, because I'm like, why? Because everybody's saying maybe, like, ew. And you'll be pushing. I am sure I've missed out on maybe some great men because of this habit, because I'm like, no, when you're sure, let me know. And then they will never let you know. Because to them, you communicating that way, they're not very, I don't think they're very assertive, let me just say that. But that is the culture. So it's like, you cannot change millions of people. You can only change your mindset to be like, okay, if somebody's saying maybe, then it means could you, so that you can have better experiences. Because we should try to have we should try to create good life, great experiences, amazing interactions while abroad, not just to be like, oh, I'm just working here, then you say I will have fun when I go back to Kenya. It's a terrible way of thinking, if I could say so. And then as I'm ending, why is it 13 minutes? Oh my god, you guys, I need help with talking. The most important thing for me that I have learned is to read books. We don't know anything, believe me, we don't know shit. Like what we know is this, and then there is like all this information out here. So reading books can really help us to improve ourselves, maybe be more confident, be more assertive, and to be able to communicate our needs easily, and to also socialize better, so to say. I for one would recommend, I always say, 2 books that I recommend to. This is 21 Lessons for the 21st Century by the Israeli historian Yuval Noah Hariri. It's amazing for the 21st century. All the questions, he talks a lot about work, like how work is changing. There's a lot of issues on immigration. There's a lot of debates. He debates with himself. Like he gives you different perspective on disillusionment, on equality, on religion, on terrorism, even on God, on resilience. Especially resilience is amazing. It's a great book. I always like top read. I've read it maybe 4 times, and I still sometimes go back when I have like questions. I'm like, what did this guy say? Because historians have a great way of predicting. Then if you're a black person, I beg you, please read this book. I gave it to somebody and it never came back with the cover. So nowadays I really don't borrow anybody my books. I just know I will buy whatever I want to read, or audiobook, or I have a Kindle. But this book has also been transformational. It's called Black Privilege by Chalamet. The opportunity comes to those who create it. This is by the guy Chalamet the God. He's a radio host in New York. And there is so much privilege in being a black person, especially if you are in a white-dominated society. You might start victimizing yourself with things about racism and all these things, which is not really the case, because I'm not saying there's no racism, but a lot of things is in our mindset. So this book, I recommend it to any black person. Seriously, like, you should read this book. It's amazing. what's there to say? Read books, have fun, have amazing experiences, and yeah, bye. Oh, subscribe.